Hello friends, we'll be back into this new video tutorial with OS.mac Pro. In this video today we're going to be working together and showing you how to deal with something called radio buttons. Now this is what I have to say. So radio button widget is used to display a material design radio buttons. So for them you can as well provide radio button where you want people to give options. You limit them like either say yes or no or something like that. Let me give assumption you want to check whether the OPC, the OS of somebody using or something that somebody is maybe trying to test, and you want him to or her to select only one option, like maybe gender, things of that sort. That's why we use radio button. So guys, I just want to let you guys know, just down below this video there's where you can actually subscribe. There's a subscribe icon or button there. Please support me, subscribe this, but share me. So subscribe to this channel, support me, subscribe, because I'm making more videos and I'm telling the target's 500 plus videos. So if you know you haven't subscribed, please just do me a favor, subscribe, so that each time I post new video you'll be notified. So let's just dive into this, whereby I'm just going to say Flutter create, if possible, Flutter create radio button app, and just say that. So that's going to give us a chance. I'm going to just give assumption we are passing up with an app of maybe working with the app called, let me just say we want to work with the app iOS. Maybe let me just say we're going to test the window, the operating system we're using. So I'm just going to come here very fast. We'll do that. So radio button, radio button, yeah, app, good. So I'm going to just pass my stateless widget very fast so that this can find us, all of us, if possible. Okay, so I'm just going to come in here. No longer want to make videos for a lot of hours, because most of you guys love short videos, especially with such kind of scenarios. So just give me a minute. We have this. So this is going to be stateless widget, like so, and I'm going to just pass them my app. As you can see here, I'm going to pass my material up, but remember it's going to be a constant around there. So here you can actually pass home, like so, whereby here you have home like that. So here down you can actually pass, if you want, you can either still pass a stateless widget, or you can definitely pass a stateful widget, depending on how you want to pass that part of the app in your app. So in my case, just hope this is what we have done. Okay, that's good. So this is home, so I said home, just pass home like that. Don't know why it's giving me errors. Home, and then pass home like so. Hope it is okay. So here I'm going to just pass a stateless widget as well, and just pass home like that. So really this is home, that's what this material with a constant. If you move this off, sorry, if you move that off, that's an error definitely. So here this is going to be my scaffold. I like so much using this architecture flow. If you guys have been keen enough, you'll be looking onto my apps. I tend to make most of the same thing within my apps, that I don't want to confuse myself as to search, for instance, because I don't want what will not make me, waste a lot of time if at all there's this type of flow. So we just want to pass here to know what you want to give the app flow, maybe radio, maybe OS Flutter radio app. So here there's also my simple constant, you can define it there. So the next thing outside there, outside of that, we have the body. So that's where we're going to define our app. Like for instance, we have different things to tell our app, or maybe it's going to be maybe my radius, my radio button, my radio button, so which I'm passing there. So I'm just going to copy it like so, and then I pass it down here. So here we can actually create a stateful widget so that we can have that if possible. Good. So this is just a stateful widget, so I'm going to pass it there like so, and I paste my stuff around there. So here I can actually define a constant so that I can have my stateless widget within. So remember here this is from the body, so I'm just passing that there, meaning whatever I'm passing inside there, I can actually inside the body of my app, and then I pass it what I need to do. Like what do I need to pass into this app, like maybe let it turn for a center, because I need to use center for this app. Now, what does the center have? The center has got a property of a child, and this time around this child is going to be having columns. We're going to pass columns within the app. If you remember last time I showed you guys on the previous video, and inside our child column we're going to be having children, and those children are going to be extending for us one as the constant of the size box and the text itself, like for instance telling us which operating system I'm using. So if I'm passing there size the box, if I'm passing there size the box like so, I can definitely tell the app, like maybe, you know, whether the height, maybe let me say the height is approximately 30 plus, and then I also tend to give one another maybe the text I want to give the app. Like for instance, this time around the text can be maybe like what operating system am I using, what operating, maybe what operating system are you using? So it's a question. So that being a question, we also end with you know, coming up with something like that. But remember, this is behaving like this because there's no constant there. You can also define a constant here, you get, and it being having that way. Let me just try to explain to you something. We have this part of the app where we have that, this is that, so let me just try to fix it here. Good. So I've put just a constant on the children so that all this can go off. Yes, you can as well also come down here and just pass in one another size the box still again of the height, depending on the height you want to give. Probably just leave mine like that. The next thing that I want to pass in here, because if you see my stuff, that's what we have. So I have another thing called list. So this time I'm now going to look at list tail. So list tail is like what do you want to pass in there? We're going to make the title, whereby the title we're going to be passing there at the moment. So let's look onto this, whereby we have the text around there in our title, and if possible our title is having maybe OS, maybe like Windows, if at all that's what we have. Maybe for the first instance that's Windows, so just move this. So we have the Windows there, so you can as well give the value like the what do you want it to show, like the leading kind of, no, what do you want it to show? Do you want it to show what? So I want to show maybe radio, so I want to give the radio, and the radio is going to be having the following properties. The radio is going to have the value, the group value, and onChanged property. We expect it to have something like that. So our radio has got a value, and the value is going to be os dot the one you want to give it, which is maybe for instance if I say Windows, something like that. That's going to be working for Windows for now. Then talk of the group that, so I'm going to just define a sum function on top here, where we're going to define our function that we're going to be using for this app. For instance, we're going to define some few things just underneath there, where we're going to define like maybe the OS of this operating system is going to be working up with that of our app. So we're trying to make some equation here whereby they maybe the OS, if at all, is of Mac, or you can specify here to be of Windows. This is very good if you can use something of that sort. You get? So that is giving that because it is not defined completely, but don't worry. Remember, later on we're going to be defining all those functions onto our app and expect it to work as needed, because I've defined there my function. Then underneath here, just outside here, I can put enum. I think there's something called enum that maybe you guys might be knowing yet. Enum, for that given particular stuff, I can define and say, you know what, I have the Mac itself on my PC. I'm also going to be having something called Windows. I'm also going to be working with something called let me say we are going to use Linux, not Debian. Let me just Debian, but Linux now this time around. So when I try to pass that here onto our app, remember this one will define it here on our app. So if you try to say now OS that you want to get, I'm passing in is equal to OS.mac. So I'm just trying to sort this off if it's okay. There should be a constant something there, final. You can set as a final property for your app, especially because you have defined it here and then here you're passing it. So that's how you can always define, because here is where you pass your property and this is the OS which I'm trying to pass in here, and then I'm trying to check, I'm calling it in that, and I'm taking some if it is Mac. If it is going to be Mac, then do that. If it is going to be this, so you're trying to say by default if it is possible, give that. Okay, so I gave you their properties here, that here this is the value.os. Maybe if it is Windows, or I can even just start with the Mac, so that you get my point. Let me just start with this other Mac. So if the OS is Mac, and then passing one as Mac, so here this is the value where she's passing up the value for that given stuff, which is still that. Okay, onChanged properties, like when it is changing, what do we pass through? So onChanged, I'm going to just pass in there. I'm going to just pass in there my value there. Get like so, and then so let me just try to organize my stuff a bit so I have that, so I don't mess up. Yeah, good. So I have the value itself, the value, the group value of this app is underscore OS, and then I have this onChanged is giving me here the OS itself, which is the OS we gave before, and then we're trying to pass to the value that we are going to get, the value, and then this is this value here. You can do this if you want. That's the value. So inside there, then you set set the state of that given stuff. If you want, set the state, which this state is still going to be giving us the underscore OS, and that's going to be definitely equals to the value of the app we have before. You get? So that's it. So if you check here, we already have the leading. Actually, the list tile gives us the title here, which you can actually provide this as a constant. You get? But remember, it can't be working as a constant when here actually we already have a constant. So I can just move that there. Then I just passed in here constant, and I also just passed in here also a constant, like so, so that this can work as expected. Then underneath here I said onChanged. Okay, when you say group value OS, so the group value is OS. Then when we say that onChanged, we are passing that OS value. So set state is going to be equivalent to having this. So I can try to fix this. So if possible, remove this. If possible, remove this off here. For now, just move it off so that everything can work as expected, because I made here to be final, and it being a final, it affects this because this tool is extending up the property. So those are some of the few things you'll need to learn, going to be learning how to edit what and when do I use what. So if you try to check this, that's going to be giving us a complete view of how that part of the page is going to be reacting. So if you check that, that should be good to go for this part of the page. That if I save this work, that's it, and I try to go to run, we should have the Flutter run. So that should be defining for us our stuff, but should give us a chance to proceed. So I'm just going to give there too, so that we have that sorted out if possible. Then I also have other part of the page that we're just going to copy and paste it, and to check if it is Windows. That's how they do it. So just come back here from the list view, or list tail, copy this, but don't forget, come down underneath here, put there comma, because we are going to be extending up our stuff. Paste it like so. So here, this is the radio that here we are passing now Windows. If you remember, we already have it defined on our app there. So here the OS, we are trying to look onto giving us the value that, and let it give us the value in a simple term. That definitely gives us the value for what we need. And trust me, if you really have the same thing within our app, that should be in position to give us what we really need. So just wait, my stuff is also to loading up. So another thing, come back down here now, up, just copy, pass it here. So give the value. The next value you're giving is Linux, which is this one. So it's not very complex, it's not very complicated. That's very so this should be maybe Windows. Is the Windows, that's Windows. This is going to be Linux, like that. And then here just pass the value for Linux, which is that. So if I save our app, try to load it if everything's okay. So that's it. So that's good. So if I save this and I try to run the app like so, and I get back here, I think you can see. Good. So no matter where I am, the app should work as like that. You would even still go back, pick the properties of this, like even go further, give the icon, because this is leading. So the leading giving you the property for that radio buttons, and the radio button has got the value, has got the timeable, has got the color itself, active color, like at the point when you're clicking there, which is the active color. You get like the active color itself, like you can see the color, active color, which you can actually define on your app and say active color. This is going to be the colors that may be that. So that's very good. So let the active color at that point be that color. So there are very many properties that you want to just pass in the radio button like this. You can see the value, the color, the what you get. So maybe that implies if you got Linux, I think you can see the active color is that, but when you come in here it's different. So when you come back here, the active color is that. It's depending on how you want it to be for your app. So guys, thanks for watching this short video. If you find it interesting, please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Each time we post new video, you'll be notified. If I take you back to the code shortly, this is what we passed through for the Mac, and this is also what I passed through. So this is just master of copying, so you don't get confused. Don't forget to put a comma here, otherwise it will not work. Then here I've defined my OS. So here you can define any property, whatever thing you want to pass. Just define it. Say maybe a gender, you passed male and female. So you say if gender is for gender, then pass the gender. You get, that's how it's done. Thanks for watching this video. I'll show you, comment if anything you want. Thank you.